of and day 2, so that means day 12. I'm gonna make my dinner and then I'm gonna walk you guys through the editorial that I was referencing yesterday. I already posted it on my Instagram, so if you follow my Instagram you'll see it there. Also, I did go to the gym twice yesterday just to work out arms. Well, I did my normal routine in the morning, and then I came back in the evening after work to do arms. And today, since it's active recovery day, which is a topic we've yet to discuss, I went in the morning, I just did arms, and I went to work, and then after work I went to the gym again and did arms, which is nice. It's like the quickest session at the gym ever. You go in 10-15 minutes and you're done. That's it. What's up, friends? You won't be seeing my beautiful face right now, but I do have in front of me and in front of you, you can see the editorial that I've been referring to. It's titled "Saturated Fat Does Not Clog the Arteries. Coronary heart disease is a chronic inflammatory condition, the risk of which can be effectively reduced from healthy lifestyle interventions." So the title is quite a mouthful and pretty much straightforward. It's a one-sentence summary of these 2 pages written by Dr. Asim Malhotra, Rita F. Redberg, and Pascal Meyer. So there are a few things, you can start reading it. I will link this article and where you can find the PDF version in this video description. It starts off by saying that there's this popular belief that saturated fat causes a clogging, which is an analogy to arteries and veins getting clogged by fat. According to this editorial, they have compiled research that there's no association between saturated fat consumption and all-cause mortality, coronary heart disease mortality, ischemic stroke, or type 2 diabetes, which is pretty good. Feel like people are still fearing fat. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if like 90% of the population, 95% of the population still afraid of fat, because that has been a message that's been ingrained into our brains pretty much an entire life. From what I understand, starting in the 50s, that's where the fear of fat really had its beginnings. But yeah, this article then moves on to say that if you have an instance of coronary heart disease, a low fat or reduced fat diet doesn't really improve all-cause mortality. In fact, increasing saturated fat intake was associated with lower progression of atherosclerosis. However, if a low-fat, higher carbohydrate diet was followed and polyunsaturated fat was followed, then atherosclerosis would continue at a greater progression. Continues on to this area right here. There is a mention of cholesterol depositing within the artery wall, but it's only because there's inflammation happening, meaning there's some sort of underlying disease. In this little graphic over here, you can see that insulin resistance, just having chronic high levels of insulin in your body, or if there is systemic inflammation, which means you probably have some sort of chronic disease. Actually, if you follow the arrows over here, you can see suboptimal omega-3, too much omega-6. This can happen a lot if you're using canola oil or any other vegetable oils. If there's excess fructose plus refined carbohydrates, so fructose could be in the form of high fructose corn syrup, fructose, fruits, and refined carbohydrates. So those like bread, for example, that is definitely super refined. Refined meaning that your body absorbs it and it immediately gets into your bloodstream. We are definitely not built to such fast uptake of sugar, glucose, carbohydrates. And if you follow this arrow too, you can see that it leads to type 2 diabetes, All of these are connected. Hypertension, type 2 diabetes, I'm not sure, atherogenic dyslipidemia, not really sure what that means, and there's other factors here, probably sedentarism or high levels of stress. Most cardiac events occur at sites with greater than 70% coronary artery obstruction. Leaks rupture, coronary thrombosis, and myocardial infarction can occur within minutes. So in this paragraph, they're just pretty much talking about the process of pretty much having a stroke. I think this is pretty important sentence over here, that the limitation of the current plumbing approach on clogging a pipe to the management of coronary disease is revealed by a series of randomized controlled trials, RCTs, which prove that stenting significantly obstructive stable lesions fail to prevent myocardial infarction or to reduce mortality. Pretty much treatment focused on unclogging the arteries is pretty much ineffective. This part, LDL cholesterol risk, has been exaggerated. Yes, we've been trying to lead a cholesterol lowering diet, hence the rise of vegetarianism, plant-based diets, and veganism, personal sacrifice in trying to eat in a manner that lowers your cholesterol, as well as medication, most popularly known as statins, as a cholesterol LDL lowering medication. They referenced the Sydney Diet Heart Study and the Minnesota coronary experiment that showed that if you substitute saturated fat with linoleic acid, that's your omega-6 that are present in vegetable oils, the opposite happens. You have increased mortality despite reductions in LDL and total cholesterol. So basically, we've had it wrong with cholesterol. We thought cholesterol was causing death, but careful research shows the opposite. We've been told to stop intaking saturated fat and focus more on the polyunsaturated fats like vegetable oils. Yes, you are reducing your LDL and your total cholesterol, but mortality risk seems to be increasing. They offer a different metric that you should focus on your blood work. Total cholesterol to high HDL ratio is the best predictor for cardiovascular risk. A high total cholesterol to HDL ratio is a surrogate marker for insulin resistance. This is what I talked a little bit about earlier, about how chronically elevated serum insulin means insulin resistance. And it's that leads to type 2 diabetes and obesity. A recent systematic review concluded that LDL cholesterol is not associated with cardiovascular disease and is inversely associated with all-cause mortality. So yes, we've been looking at the wrong side of the coin. There's actually an inverse relationship between LDL and all-cause mortality. A high total cholesterol to HDL ratio drops rapidly with dietary changes, such as replacing refined carbohydrates with healthy high-fat foods. Amazing. Here in this next couple paragraphs, they focus on research about being physically active. Basically, move around a little bit more, get your blood rate up, make sure your muscles get a little stimulation, and that can increase life expectancy by 3.4 to 4.5 years, independent of body weight. So just keep on moving. And here they say 30 minutes of moderate activity 3 times a week can improve insulin sensitivity and reverse insulin resistance, which is awesome. Just 3 days a week, 30 minutes. At the end over here, they ended up recommending saying that 22 minutes a day and eating real food. So none of that box stuff, none of that wheat pasta, none of that granola bars or things that come in the bags. Pretty much just meat and vegetables. That's what they're saying. You will see a great improvement in chronic inflammation and overall health. So yeah, I wanted to show this to you, friends, because there are a lot of people out there working really hard because they care about human health. They're working really hard on bringing this research to light. Many people still fear fat. Pretty much everyone fears fat. Everyone's uncomfortable with fat. I know when having fat, you see me eat beef fat, but you always wonder, am I getting this wrong? Am I doing this right? But yeah, make sure to read it. It's awesome. Great, great editorial. Succinct and straight to the point. Saturated fat, LDL, we've had it wrong. Rethink about it. Do your research. Read about it. Come to your own opinion. Just don't accept what your cereal box is saying. Alright, thanks for watching. Make sure you give it a like, give it a subscribe. See you tomorrow.